Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Tuesday afternoon. It is the 19th day of August, 2025, and we're going to try to do a short breaking news for you as we try to get back in the saddle again. We're going to do three stories real quickly, plus a little brief health update. We'll start with it. My wife and I, Sunday, after we gave you the breaking news, both tested positive for the Chinese Communist Party coronavirus 2025 strain. So that's what we're suffering with. She's 2 days behind me getting it. And it's not anything like 5 years ago. But it's still there. I'm still sick, but I'm getting, well, I don't feel that awful bad actually. My voice sounds horrible, but I don't feel that bad. I'm not coughing as much and I'm still weak, but thank you for your prayers. Keep on praying. We'll try to get back in the saddle soon. We're not going to be doing an everyday breaking news, but I wanted just to give you the latest what's going on so you know what's happening. So again, thanks for your prayers. All right, three headlines we want to get to real quickly. Trump's push for Putin-Zelenskyy talks hinges on the Kremlin's conditions. Some Fox News. And two major stories from Israel. Hamas okays partial deal. Israel says too late, too late. That's from virtual Jerusalem. And from the Jerusalem Post, preparations for Gaza City operation are progressing as Israel insists on a comprehensive hostage deal from the Jerusalem Post. So let's look at these stories. First of all, Trump is pushing for a Putin-Zelenskyy talk, and it hinges on the conditions the Kremlin puts out there. All right, the White House now supposedly has announced, I haven't heard this, but I've seen it on Fox here now, a bilateral Putin-Zelenskyy meeting. Will this really happen? Well, we'll wait and see. Russian President Putin has agreed to participate in a bilateral meeting with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, according to the White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. All right. After Monday's White House meetings, President Trump, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and the European leaders, the question remains after they met with the discussions. Here's the big question. Is Russian President Vladimir Putin prepared to sit down face to face with the Ukrainian leader, and on what terms? Trump said he personally called Putin to arrange a meeting. The Kremlin, by contrast, offered a more ambiguous response, acknowledged, well, the idea had surfaced, but refusing to confirm whether Moscow would accept it. For Putin, we're told any such encounter would carry more weight as theater than diplomacy. He doesn't want to meet Zelenskyy because he doesn't even recognize Ukrainian sovereignty. This is from Ivana Stradner, an expert on Russia at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracy. She told Fox Digital, the only way they can be in a room is if Trump is with them, because Putin wants to show that Russia is equal to the United States, and we need to give him the pleasure to feed his population about the so-called Russian greatness. Another Ambassador Kurt Volker, who served as U.S. envoy to Ukraine in the first Trump administration, agreed that the Kremlin is unlikely to budge without concessions. And again, this is to meet. Putin is unlikely to accept such a meeting if his preconditions are not met, and these conditions are formidable. The Kremlin has already rejected NATO-style security guarantees for Ukraine, while Zelenskyy and the European leaders have ruled out surrendering territory. Stradner warned that Putin's strategy is to test the West resolve. Eventually, Putin would challenge Western soldiers on the ground. Stradner said, I doubt, as things are today, that any Western nations, except maybe the Baltic states or Poland, would be willing to send their kids to die for Ukraine, and Putin knows it. The Russian leader, she added, has been emboldened by weak Western response in the past, and she mentioned the 2023 clashes in Kosovo, where ethnic Serbians attacked NATO peacekeepers, injuring 90. So we'll see. If you watched yesterday, it was fascinating. What if you got to watch the meeting where Trump is with Zelenskyy, and then they're all around the table with the European leaders and discussing, they all want the same thing. They want peace, they want security for Europe and the United Kingdom, and they want to see Russia put in its place. They want the fighting, the killing to stop, the children that have been taken by Russia to be brought back. And it was interesting to see them all talk there. And one of the impressive things about it, if you watched it, is how all the leaders of these countries spoke very good English, spoke fluent English. Macron of France, the Dutch guy, the uh, uh, Maloney from Italy, she did a really good job. And we also had the Finnish person, he spoke excellent English. Zelenskyy speaks good English, and all the rest of them did. Oh, even the guy from the UK spoke okay English, Starmer. But the point is, they were speaking and they were very, very well spoken. But they all said the same basic thing, and the German guy merits too. They want to see this stop. They want to see the killing stop. We all do. Will it happen? And the big question is we don't know. And again, this is a huge issue as far as we're concerned as we look at last days Bible prophecy because Russia's got to get out of Ukraine. And if they're ever going to do what the Bible predicts someday, the Ezekiel 38, 39 invasion, because they can't do both at once because all their forces are tied up there. So we'll see what happens. That's not why we want them to get out of Ukraine. We want them to get out of Ukraine to stop the fighting and stop the killing. It is a terrible situation, this 3.5 year war. So we'll see what happens. We'll bring you the latest, but it is important. Because, like we said, Russia is one of the main players in last days Bible prophecy. If you're interested in finding out more information, go to our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Bible prophecy, and you can download any one of our 12 books on Bible prophecy, including 25 signs. We're near the end. They're all free. We don't charge for anything, so please take advantage of it. That is our ministry. So that's the first story. All right, now we got two in Israel here that are very, very important. Headline number 2 from Virtual Jerusalem. Hamas okays a partial deal, but Israel said, sorry, too late. Egypt, Qatar, and the U.S. push mediation amidst mounting humanitarian crisis and internal dissent in Israel. Trump supports destroying Hamas. Netanyahu stays mum, but a senior official in Israel says a partial deal is a no-go, and the train has left the station. And Hamas announced this week that it's agreed in principle, supposedly. You know, they're all liars. You don't know if you can trust them to a temporary ceasefire proposal crafted by mediators Egypt and Qatar with support from the U.S. The deal would last 60 days and includes a phased release of hostages and prisoners, as well as a partial Israeli withdrawal from certain areas of Gaza and a significant increase in humanitarian supplies. According to the outline conveyed to both sides, Hamas would release 10 living Israeli hostages, along with the bodies of several others who died in captivity. In return, Israel would release between 150 and 200 Palestinian security prisoners. During the ceasefire, Israeli troops would withdraw to some forward positions in Gaza City and Rafah, though the IDF forces would retain freedom of operation in much of the Strip. Aid convoys and fuel deliveries would be substantially expanded, something that Hamas has long demanded. Now, Israel has said obviously no to that because they want it all or nothing. They want another 60 days where, you know, it's a temporary fighting and give Hamas a chance to regroup because right now our big story is this next one because this is what Hamas is worried about. Preparations for Gaza City operation progressing as Israel insists on comprehensive hostage deal, Jerusalem Post. Israel demands the release of all 50 hostages in accordance with the principles set by the cabinet for ending the war. Israel is consistent. Their policy has not changed, demands the release of all these hostages. We're at the decisive stage against Hamas, and we will not leave a single hostage behind. U.S. continue to discuss a ceasefire proposal for a 60-day truce in Gaza. The White House press secretary said Tuesday, I don't think it's a coincidence Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about the conflict on Truth Social yesterday. Leavitt told reporters at a press briefing at the White House. Well, here's the real problem. 80,000 soldier operation. The IDF decided yesterday, Monday, that the Gaza City operation would comprise of at least 80,000 soldiers. Read another article said 100,000 soldiers would encircle and conquer the city to destroy Hamas's core terror infrastructure and the primary government symbol still under its control. And so that's what they're afraid of. So they want to do something. So they say, oh, we're now going to accept the original hostage thing that Witkoff came up with a number of months ago. But Israel is not buying it, and they shouldn't because Hamas are liars. They're not going to come through with anything. And again, what are you going to take another 60 days off? Still have 10 hostages in captivity, get 10 back, and allow about 200 murderers free, and then watch Hamas rebuild. So next time we'll see what happens next with the Gaza op. They need to go ahead, and I think they're going to. It's not going to be pretty, but it's necessary. So we will wait and see. But that's the latest. So you got what's going to happen in Gaza. We're waiting to see there what's going to happen with Putin and Zelenskyy, United States. And so a lot of interesting things are happening right now, setting the stage for, again, what the Bible talks about is going to happen at the time of the end. All these things are very important with respect to last days Bible prophecy. And we're watching them set up day by day, just in a very, very amazing way. All right, I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching and putting up with my lousy voice. Until next time, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.